This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Buying a car shouldn't eat up your week. That's why Carvana made it convenient. Car buying that fits around your life, not the other way around. You can get pre-qualified for an auto loan in just a couple of minutes and browse thousands of quality car options, all within your terms, all online, all on your schedule. Turn car buying into a few clicks and not a full week's endeavor. Finance and buy your car at your convenience on Carvana. Financing subject to credit approval. Additional terms and conditions may apply.
This episode is brought to you by Dogfish Head Craft Brewery. The Grateful Dead and Dogfish Head have gotten the band back together with the release of Grateful Dead Juicy Pale Ale, a light-bodied pale ale brewed with sustainable kernza grains, granola, and heaps of good karma for a refreshing brew that's music to your taste buds. Available nationwide, visit dogfish.com to find Grateful Dead Juicy Pale Ale in your neck of the woods. Dogfish Head Craft Brewery is located in Milton, Delaware. Please drink responsibly.
Beautiful people, welcome into the facility. A beautiful Thursday here in Southern California. Y'all know what it is. To my right, LaShawn Shady McCoy is in the building. And to my left, Will Blackman, 10-year NFL vet. So much to get to, not just in the world of football, but finally some big-time hires and some big-time acquisitions. Mike Brown, allegedly going to be hired by the New York Knicks. They've been waiting for it, Coach. We're going to talk about that. The Lakers, they got them some help with the big man, and we are going to start with that. Y'all could be watching any show. You're hanging out with us. We do not take it for granted. Deandre Ayton, former #1 overall pick, big man, all things to all people coming out of college especially. But in the NBA, many would suggest he hasn't had the career he would have hoped to have had. Shady, Deandre Ayton, a gigantic name, one of the biggest names in the last 10 years coming out of college. However, in the NFL, hasn't lived up to the hype. The Lakers, Luka, LeBron, Austin Reeves, Rui, and now you got Deandre Ayton. Is he the missing piece? Does he get the Lakers closer to a title?
I'm going to say no, right? But I think he is a piece.
Okay.
I think you're making him bigger than what he really is, but I do think they need this piece. They need a center. They're playing in a series with no center, right?
Yes.
And everybody kept saying, oh, why J.J. Redick's not playing the center? Well,
he didn't have
Jackson
one.
Hayes ain't really the most productive center. So I like this move. I think he's a good help, but we got to be honest, though, right? DeAndre Ayton is a big name. I mean, he was the #1 pick overall. I mean, in 7 years, not one All-Star game, and you're asking me, is this the missing piece? I don't know, right? I think he can help. You know what? It's similar to like, you eat pizza?
Of course. Do I?
Okay. So like the pizza's like the main thing, right? Right?
Yep, I'm with
but
you.
every once in a while, you make a little side, little breadsticks, right?
Yeah.
You like wings? I love wings.
Cheesy bread.
Honey barbecue.
And I think the wings is the main thing, but
Talk
then
to me.
you have them celery and carrots, right? He's that. He's like a good piece.
Just the celery?
Celery and carrots. That's
Just the carrot?
You know what I'm saying?
maybe some wings.
Just the
No,
celery?
man, listen.
Ranch or blue cheese?
The best thing about him was I want the Suns run, right? And
Okay,
even
yep.
with the Suns run, he had an issue with not getting the ball. So I'm thinking, you think Devin Booker shoots the ball a lot. You think Devin Booker controls the ball. You about to play with Luka. And Luka controls the whole ball. He shoots, he sets everything up. It goes through him. Austin Reeves, he gonna get his shots.
He is.
I ain't gonna say much about the King. The King will do whatever the King wants to do.
Yeah.
So for this missing piece, yes, I think you have a really good center. I think he can score, and I think he could, protect the rim enough. But I think he's a piece. I think they need one more piece to actually go to the finals.
I don't disagree with Shady on that.
Yeah.
Now, maybe not celery, at least the carrots with the ranch. But I don't
If I
disagree.
said both. If I said
my
both.
dog. That's why my dog.
At least wings, bro. He
The
gonna be a
wings are already
starter.
there.
He's
but
wings.
Austin Reeves is wings. Austin Reeves is wings. Here's why I think DeAndre Ayton does get the Lakers closer to a title. #1, bigs that play with Luka have more success than they do without Luka Doncic. Think about Jackson Hayes without Luka versus Jackson Hayes when Luka showed up. You're talking about a 77% field goal shooter, and mainly in large part because of the 67% increase as far as points per game. If you can run towards the rim and be a rim runner and a lob threat, Luka will make you a better player. DeAndre Ayton. He's 7 feet. He ain't even got to be able to jump that high. So just know when you think about Gafford, when you think about Lively with the Mavericks, and then when you think about Jackson Hayes, Luka will get the best out of a big. That's the first thing. But here is why, Shady, I got the most promise, viewers at home. There was a former #1 overall pick who was an absolute bust by every single metric throughout the first 5.5 years of his career.
Talk about him.
But he joined a future Hall of Famer. He joined a championship culture, and he instantly became an all-star and maybe the second best player on a championship team. He goes by the name of Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins showed up in Golden State as a bust. Deandre Ayton showing up in Los Angeles as a bust. But Andrew Wiggins joined Steve Curry. Andrew Wiggins joined Steph Curry. Andrew Wiggins joined Draymond Green. And all of a sudden, Andrew Wiggins not only became a champion, Andrew Wiggins became an all-star in his second year with the Golden State Warriors after 6.5 years of never being an all-star. Shady already talked about it. Deandre Ayton's played 7 seasons, no all-star appearances. But what I am hoping is that Deandre Ayton can have a similar run like Andrew Wiggins had with the Golden State Warriors. Just be a missing piece. You don't got to be everything. We understand up until this point in your career, you've been a bust. But if Deandre Ayton can join that Lakers culture and join those Lakers future Hall of Famers, and they can extract the talent that lies within that former #1 overall pick, I'm hoping, best case scenario, Shady, he can be like Wiggins was to the Warriors. Ayton can be that to the Lakers, and maybe there can be a title in the future. I'm hoping that.
Boy's.
Yeah, no, I agree. He definitely gets them closer because they've been lacking a big man. Plus, even when AD was there, he said, "I'm not trying to be the five.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do other things." You mentioned Jackson Hayes, and I'll go back to your point about another a former #1 overall pick who maybe bounced around. At one point was outstanding, came back, and then Dwight Howard. He came back to the Lakers in 2020, and he just came there and had to do his role, another big man that they needed, and he filled in and got it done. And also, too, he provides that interior defense. He provides that rebounding. And when you go to a team with veterans like that, especially he's going into year 8, he's not going to be expecting the ball like that. He's gonna fall in line and, again, go to that culture. You're playing with LeBron and Luka. At this point, you're like, I'm with arguably the GOAT and obviously arguably one of the future faces of the league. So he's going to fall in line and do what he needs to do. And also, too, you have a very low-risk financial commitment to this guy. You're not paying him the duffel bag to be this guy for the future. You're giving him 2 years, $60 million. So in this case, it's very friendly. The potential is, you're taking this, potential is going to be, who knows, it could be really big, can pay off. And so, yeah, I think it's going to help. And like you mentioned, he's still missing pieces. The one thing LeBron usually had, he had a Ray Allen. He had a Danny Green. He had a Mike Miller.
He had a KCP.
He had a KCP in terms of like the shooter on the outside. And at one point had Lonnie Walker when he came in and did his thing. So that would be just the one thing that they're missing because they got a lot of defense.
Listen, I hear all this y'all talking about, right? Who's the wing defenders? Who's going to guard? Because right now as it looks, right, you got Luka, the one, you got Austin Reeves, you got
Rudy.
Yeah, Rudy, you got Bron, and you got Aiden. So who's gonna guard? So when you playing against Ant-Man and he's doing what he does that to y'all every time I see him, who gonna guard him?
Supposed to be Rui.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be. I'm not telling you he's gonna lock him down, but that's who they rolled out last time. Rui, Dorian Finney-Smith, and if Vanderbilt finds himself in the rotation, but it's supposed to be Rui out
and that's what Rudy is good at, too. He's a defender.
Hold up, I just want to get this straight. Who gonna be the guard man?
It's supposed to be Rui.
All right.
Now, will it work?
You rest the case.
But it might be game-to-game basis based on what they're trying to do.
Well, to Shady's point, though, it can't be Reeves, it can't be Luka, it can't be LeBron, it has to be Rui.
But it never was him, though.
Last year.
No.
Last year, it wasn't Reeves.
It was Smith.
But Smith was a backup. Remember, Smith only came in because Rui was hurt.
What I'm saying is, so last year you telling me, now I can't really recall, because it's been some time, but I would just bet my money on you telling me that he's going to watch Ant-Man all game? That's what we doing?
He would have to start on him. Okay. You know what I mean? Because you can't start. Now, I'm with you at the point of I don't know that it will work.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know that it will work. I think that's where the Lakers have
I'm going to do me some homework tonight, though. Tell you that right now.
Here's the thing. They start the game off like they're not so much worried about, I think, like who they're going to stop because Luke can go shot for anybody. Mm-hmm. And so it might be a rotational situation like, okay, maybe after the first 10 minutes, they bring in somebody, like a Vanderbilt to go ahead and guard because depending on where the lead is, they might have to make it early, make the rotation later. But you have defense on the bench. You have Gabe Vincent, a guard who can come on. He's the one that can defend and shoot. You have Vanderbilt. And the new guy, LaRivia, he's known for playing defense.
Well, I think what we have overestimated is there aren't as many great 3-and-D players as there used to be. The days of the Bruce Bowens and the Doug Christies, Lou Dort has one. I believe the Pacers believe they have one in Naismith, but the Lakers' 3-and-D player is supposed to be Rui, and last year the backup was supposed to be Dorian Finney-Smith, who's now supposed to go be a backup for the Rockets, and it's supposed to be, Vanderbilt has no 3, but he is supposed to be able to play D. So to Shady's point, I don't know that Rui does it well, but in this starting lineup, who's supposed to guard Kevin Durant when he rolls out?
Well, if he's cooking you on jumpers and he's cooking on jumpers, at least you got a rim protector now.
Correct.
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 You're not just going to go to the hoop.
Okay, so if we look at the finals, right? Yeah. Let's look at the finals. Because I don't know about all this regular. For now with basketball, my last 3-4 years, I don't even watch the regular season like that. I do it for my job, but I'm really focusing on the playoffs. That's where you really could game plan, right? We're playing one team, the best out of 7. It ain't just, I play you, now I'm going to the West Coast, now the East Coast. We ain't doing that. So the finals, the OKC Thunder had 3, maybe 4 lockup guys, right? Depending on how you want to see Shea. Shea don't really get beat on, but he's solid on defense. And then you look at the Pacers. They had a couple guys that could defend. So now as we look at this thing, like, yo, who's going to guard? We only talking about offense right now. I think the offense for the Lakers, they're going to score some points. Right?
No question.
Right?
Yeah.
They're going to score. But in the playoffs, you got to defend.
That's a good point.
The issue's never been on the teams with.
But you know what's interesting then, though, 2-5 is Deandre Ayton, to me, is an upgrade over Jackson Hayes, and to me, is an upgrade over the small lineup, even especially defensively. So now, though, to Shady's point is, the Lakers lack defense by nature of the construction of the roster. So do you move Reeves out the starting lineup, and do you find a player that's a better two-way player? Because to your point, LeBron has to start. Luka Doncic has to start. Deandre Ayton is going to acquire it. He's going to start. So now you're either moving Austin Reeves, just in totality, or you're moving Rui. But, like, I think from a construction standpoint, the Lakers might just be constricted because you're right. They don't have a great elite lockdown defender. But I would suggest that outside of the Thunder are so well constructed, which is why they won a championship. Lakers aren't there yet. Lakers just not. They're just not there yet.
He gets them closer. He's not the missing piece.
Exactly right.
That's why I said it. They're close, but they're not.
They're not there. They're absolutely not there yet. Hey, the New York Knicks, they're closer to finding their head coach, and they may have actually found it. Reports say Mike Brown, a very, very long tenured NBA head coach, several different stints, 4 different times, is supposed to be the next head coach for one of the biggest franchises in one of the biggest cities in all of the world. Mike Brown, a friend of mine, coached the Nigerian national team at the Olympics in 2021.
He's Nigerian?
No, he's not Nigerian. He just coached the team.
My bad.
Mikey Kechukwu Brown. No, his name is just Michael Brown. That's it. No Nigerian there. Shady McCoy, did the Knicks get it right with Mike Brown?
I think so. Okay, so first of all, the last coach that was just here, for 25 years, we haven't been to an Eastern Conference Finals. And we finally get there and we fire him. So we got to bring in somebody that's used to playing with superstars, that's used to winning, that's used to pressure. Mike Brown's the guy. He's been there before he was even with the Warriors, right? And then also playing with LeBron James. So he has the formula of winning and getting to the big dance. I like this move. I think a guy like Jalen Brunson would love this. And then you go out there and you get you a guy that comes off the bench that can score, Jordan Clarkson. So I like what they're doing. I think Mike is the guy for the job. Just got to get it done. Because everybody can play underneath these pressure.
That's incredibly well said. I love the Mike Brown hire for several reasons. Number 1, he knows how to build. Number 2, he knows how to sustain. And number 3, he knows how to coach stars. He can build, he can sustain, and he can coach stars. Mike Brown has coached Shaq. He's coached LeBron. He's coached Kobe. He's coached Powell. He's coached Kyrie. He's coached Kevin Durant. He's coached Steph Curry. He's coached Klay Thompson. He's coached Draymond Green. So he can coach Jalen Brunson. He knows how to build up an organization. Ask the Cleveland Cavaliers 2007. Mike Brown joins that team in 05-06 after they were trying to ascend with LeBron James and a bunch of other nameless characters, I would suggest, and he leads that team to a championship, a team that only had LeBron James as it pertains to superstars. So he knows how to build. But the Knicks don't need to be built. The Knicks just need to sustain and maybe get better slightly, get over the edge. He knows how to sustain. When he was on the bench with Steve Kerr, and Steve Kerr was dealing with some of those back issues, he had to step in at the helm, both as the head man, as the assistant man. He knows how to sustain. So New York Knicks, y'all don't need a lot. You just need to sustain. He sat on the bench behind Kerr. He sat on the bench behind Pop. He also knows how to follow greatness. He had to follow Phil Jackson. Now, it didn't necessarily work out that great, ask Lakers fans, but he's not worried about succumbing to pressure. And then lastly, though he is still a very competent defensive coach, I love him as an offensive coach. Remember, when he coached that Sacramento Kings team, they had the number 1 offense in all of the NBA. Remember, he led De'Aaron Fox to his first All-Star game appearance. He helped De'Aaron Fox become the clutch player of the year in the NBA. Jalen Brunson already being that, so Mike Brown knows how to sustain that. So Mike Brown can keep the Knicks' defensive effort very competent, and then he can help the Knicks from an offensive competency standpoint. It doesn't just need to be Jalen Brunson take 26 dribbles and shoots a fadeaway 3. Now get everybody else involved. I think a 10 out of 10 hire, especially if it wasn't your first choice.
Yeah, they definitely got it right because all the things you guys mentioned in terms of his strengths, in terms of building culture, sustainability, and he does that through communication with the front office, through communication with the ownership, through communication with the players. He's able to get everybody on the same page. You talked about the Sacramento Kings. that franchise was struggling for a little bit, and he came in there and totally revived.
17 years.
Totally revived and got him to the point. They were lighting the beam damn near every
second seed type of stuff.
Yeah, they were lighting the beam like crazy. And even reports when he ended up parting ways or getting fired, De'Aaron Fox was like, well, if he goes, I'm going to go too. And that speaks volumes in terms of his impact on the players. So coming into the situation, right, he doesn't have to build 1,000%, has to sustain. But the building part will be like sustain it for a long time. I think short-term goals constantly being, a top 6 seed at the end of the year. But he's going to be able to do that. We mentioned where he's been with the Warriors, where he's been with the Spurs, all the players he's played with, which ultimately is going to command his respect. And plus, players are going to reach out, what's up with Coach Brown? And there's going to be nothing but great things to say about him.
It's funny, man, because I remember going through that coaching change, right? And I don't know if you guys ever went through that or not, but I remember when we were about to hire Chip Kelly, right? We kept coming off of Andy Reid, who's a GOAT. And I remember, the owner calling me up, hey, Shady, I think we're going to go with, Chip Kelly. I'm like, well, Chip Kelly, who I looking him up, okay, college dude. So I'm thinking like, well, is this going to work out? How's it going to go in the locker room? And you have all these questions. But here with Mike Brown, Jalen Brunson don't have to have that many questions.
Right.
I look at his resume. Oh, I see what he's done. Yep. I see who he's played with. I see the way that they won. I see the way that he's changed franchise. So all these things really matter. And, one thing about, like, getting a new coach, if you're a rebuilding team, you accept any new coach. Because we're trying to win. So whatever this coach is going to do, we're following it. But when you're a winning team and you just come off the Eastern Conference Finals, you got to have the right job, the right person for that job.
Finals.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah.
And we were, 2 games away from the finals? So bring the right coach in. When they do that, I think Mike Brown's the perfect guy because when you have that conversation, because the Knicks are like a close unit.
Yes, sir.
Right? Bridges, you got Hart, right? You got Jalen Brunson. Like, them guys are all together. Cat's in there now. And when you bring a coach in, we all have to believe because, look, Coach, before you got here, we were right here, dog.
Right. Yep.
So you got to meet us here a little bit more. And I think Mike Brown's the guy for that job.
And I love what Shady's saying because if I'm getting a new coach, take me somewhere I haven't been.
Come on now.
Like the Knicks haven't been to the NBA Finals. Mike Brown as a head coach has been to the NBA Finals. And then Mike Brown as an assistant has won 3 championships at least with the Warriors in 22.
4 total, I believe.
4 total, yeah.
Come on now.
Would have won those 3 with the Warriors. And then also, coach somebody better than me. I don't want to be the best you've ever seen. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if I'm Jalen Brunson, oh wait, you've coached KD. Oh, you've coached Steph. Oh, you've coached LeBron. Oh, you've coached Kobe. Oh, you've coached Shaq.
Tim
I know
Duncan,
you coached Duncan. You coached all them Spurs greats. Like, I know you know how to coach somebody better than me. Hey, well, speaking of being the best, it's hard to get any better than Patrick Mahomes. But a Fox Sports list came out and said that Patrick Mahomes is the second best quarterback heading into the season. Is he losing his grip as the top QB in the NFL? That is next. Don't forget, check us out every day. Fox Sports Channel, Sirius XM.
With PayPal, I can pay now or pay in 4. No interest and no fees. Now feast your ears on this prime-cut musical meat. You can pay your own way. Don't just pay, PayPal.
Subject to approval, eligibility varies. Learn more at paypal.com/pay-in-4.
Patrick Mahomes, you could suggest, is unanimously the best quarterback in the NFL. But get this, y'all. The last 2 MVP awards have gone to different individuals. And if you look at this FoxSports.com ranking of the top 10 quarterbacks heading into next season, Mahomes isn't at the top. It's actually Josh Allen. He won MVP last year, followed by Pat, and then Lamar, and then Joe, and then Jalen Hurts, Super Bowl champ, followed by Jared Goff, Baker, Herbert, Jaden Daniels, and Dak Prescott. I will ignore Justin Herbert being ahead of Jaden Daniels for the time being.
What about Baker Mayfield being ahead of Jaden Daniels? Like, what?
Listen, Baker cooked last year now.
I will ignore both of those things. Let's focus, people. Beautiful people, let's focus. Patrick Mahomes, Shady, you won a Super Bowl with him. He won you your first Super Bowl. But people are starting to think he's losing his grip as the best QB in the... Shady, what do you...
No, I'm texting Dave Hellman because I know he it might be Dave Hellman that did this. Talking about Fox. Yeah, all right.
Shady, is Mahomes losing his grip as a top QB in the NFL?
No, man. Like, no. See, the problem is, right, is we get so caught up in the stats. Stats this, stats that. And that's why we have all these conversations about, like, the Aaron Rodgers, and it's not a block for him, but this in general. When we speak,
that's because Shady and I talked for about 30 minutes after the show.
No, but it's like, why do we play this game? I always tell people when you're dealing with athletes, especially professional athletes, we compete.
Yeah.
Right? It's hard to win in this league. And I always want to be better than you. That's how we was raised, right? Everybody's trying to get better than the next person. And there might be players that might have better stats than Patrick Mahomes this year. Okay, might be another quarterback have better stats than Patrick Mahomes this year. But at Patrick Mahomes' worst, and this is probably one of his worst years, right? And maybe because of him playing with the reserves wide receivers, his number 1 receiver got hurt, his number 2 receiver got hurt, and he didn't make no excuses about it. So you didn't even hear anything about it. But at his worst year, I'm playing in the Super Bowl. At my worst of my worst years, I'm in the AFC Championship game. And I'm thinking, now how in the world can somebody surpass Pat when the people that you have in front of him don't never beat him in the meaningful games? AFC Championship game, AFC Championship game, Super Bowl. I'm winning. So as much as I love Josh Allen, because that's my youngin', it's my brother, right? We played together. I see him as a rookie. I was the first one to say how good he was going to be. I can't sit up here on TV and lie to the people. Lamar Jackson, I think he's probably, him and Josh Allen to me is probably the most this straight God-gifted talent. And to be honest, when I look at Josh Allen, I don't see another quarterback that ever played this football game that's more talented than him. Running, size, speed, arm strength, accuracy, all them things. But when you talk about who's the best quarterback in the game, it's Patrick Mahomes, bro. It ain't even close.
Let's have some fun with this one.
I don't want to have fun.
Have fun, JD.
I want to be serious.
Let's have some fun with this one. Who's the best quarterback in the NFL over the last 25 years or in history?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady, objectively.
Yeah.
It is Tom Brady.
No question.
Now, I got to ignore Shady for a moment and talk to this 10-year NFL defender for a hot second. 12-year NFL defender for a hot second. Who was the best quarterback, Will Blackman, from maybe 2006 to 2010?
4 years.
11, 12.
I mean, you could say Drew Brees, Peyton.
Who else? Peyton Manning. Now, who's the best quarterback, though, from like 2012 to 2011 to 2016?
I mean, let's go 10 and on. It was probably Aaron
Rodgers, I would suggest, and statistically, and the world would suggest, based upon all pros and MVPs. Aaron Rodgers.
Stats.
Yes.
Okay.
And 1 Super Bowl, but just stats and 1 Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers was the best quarterback in the NFL from 2011. You could say all the way to 2020, but you could really go from 2011 to 2016. Peyton Manning was the best quarterback in the NFL from 2007 to about 2012, 2013 when he was with the Denver Broncos and when he took off with the Colts. But Tom Brady's the best quarterback ever. You could suggest Mahomes is losing his grip. Is he still better than Lamar Jackson? In my opinion, yes. He's still better than Josh Allen? In my opinion, yes. But you could suggest he's losing his grip, just like Tom Brady lost his grip to Peyton Manning from 07 to 11 and 12 and lost it to Aaron Rodgers from 2011 to 2016 or all the way to 2020 when Aaron Rodgers snuck 4 MVPs in there in a 9-year window. So is Patrick still the best? Yes. But you have to suggest that Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen are both clawing at Patrick Mahomes and saying, wait, I want some of that shine too. And they're taking some of it. Not all of it, but they're definitely taking some of it.
losing his grip. Okay. Right now, Mahomes he's at the top of the mountain. Right, Shady? He probably went like this. He probably slipped real quick. He's still on the mountain. He probably slipped on accident. He's still on the mountain. That's the only grip he lost. Mahomes, it's not even. I get going into the season, yes, what Josh Allen did, reigning MVP, I think he was about 80% of the total offense production. Like, yes, he was pretty much the entire team. But when you really look at it, man, it's not even close in terms of, like, who's the best quarterback. And it's Patrick Mahomes by far and none. And I always go back to...
It's not even close?
No, it's
who's
not.
Who's the best quarterback? It's not close. Who's the best quarterback? Josh Allen, yes, coming into the season, and I'm a big Josh Allen fan. I was with him when he trained here as a rookie in California, and he and I are good friends. I'm going to send you some wine again, Josh. But overall... It's not close. And I go back to watching that documentary Quarterback, and if you really watch it, and that made me sit back and I was like, damn, bro, like it really is Patrick and everybody else. And also it's like, I look at this like when Mahomes goes against these quarterbacks, let's say Lamar and Josh Allen, I look at, it's like a sparring match, right? Like they spar, like Josh might win some spar matches, Lamar might win some, but when you get into the title fight, like when it really, really matters, Mahomes wins. Like I know a ton of guys who box, who are champions, maybe never lost in the lights, but they've been knocked out or dropped in sparring. And right now with Mahomes, like when it matters, that's what he's measuring right now.
What irks me though is like, it irks me only because how can y'all say it's not close? Like Mahomes doesn't beat Josh or Lamar 40-7 in these games when he beats them in the playoffs. Obviously, Mahomes never loses to those individuals. He is better, objectively better. I don't know how you rank him second. But to suggest it's not close, like, yes, Shady Marshawn might have you in some areas. You might have him in some areas. Adrian Peterson might have y'all both in some areas. But I would never just sit here and say it's not close. Well, they have MVPs.
Yeah, the thing is,
it's not close.
The thing is, right, and AP is phenomenal. But
phenomenal.
And Marshawn's phenomenal, right? We're all a phenomenal group.
Correct.
I'm going to take the running backs out of it, right? This is my guys. Let's talk the straight quarterbacks. Why it's not close because he's 5-0 against Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson in the playoffs. You talking about some regular season games, I'm okay with that. I've watched Tom Brady lose to some scrub quarterbacks, right? We all have seen that. Right. I've lost to bad defense. We did that before. Mm-hmm. When the stakes are high and everything's counting on the game, we know who's going to win.
That's what we're measuring that
Josh Allen, I always tell you this, Josh Allen's probably the most talented quarterback I've ever seen, right? That's my opinion.
And that's fair, yeah.
But when it comes to being the best quarterback, it's Patrick Mahomes. He's 4-0 against Pat. He's 4-0 against Josh. If we're all hanging out, see, the one thing I love about being a professional athlete, we all are competitive, right? It's sometimes when I'm in the room with certain running backs, I'm looking at him like, man, he knows what's going on. He know my numbers. Or, his numbers. We do that. Yeah. If Patrick Mahomes, Lamar, and Josh are all in the same room, you already know how it's going to go. You know who the big dog is. You know who it is. Every time, we always talk about the championships. We always talk about the stats and the teams. Patrick Mahomes is the only quarterback that don't make no excuses. We don't ever sit up here and ask these questions. Does he need more? Does he need one more piece? We don't do that. We don't never do that. You know why? Because we know how it's going to end. It's either going to end with him getting red confetti as a champion or he's going to lose. But every time you see him, he's going to be in a Super Bowl. And these other quarterbacks, before you go, I can't put you in front of Pat when the biggest stage, you never beat me.
Agreed. I'm not putting anybody in front of Pat. What I'm suggesting to you, and really you, is also this. It's like, if Josh has another season this year, cool, like he had last year, say he has another MVP, and say this time, Shady, he beats Pat.
See, stop. You see how that works?
Talk to me. What I do? What happened? What happened?
He said, let's say, Josh has another season MVP, and then he says, because that's probably possible. Yeah. Josh probably going to another MVP, right? Mm-hmm. He says, but let's just say, right, that he just can find a way to beat Pat. Huh? We don't ever see that.
That's the thing. You can.
Who's going to championship this year on the AFC?
Chiefs.
What are we talking about? And another thing is, and I'm done with the conversation because it's getting real. I'm getting upset hearing this because Josh is that's my man for real. But I got to be honest. Like, okay, so we had a big issue with the Bills going that far last year because he lost his number one weapon in Stephon Diggs, and he surpassed that. He went to the AFC Championship game. Cool. But when we look at Pat, nobody sits on TV and talks about, well, he didn't have a great season stats-wise, but he did have a backup wide receiver, starter, backup number 2 wide receiver, starter, hurt. My starting running back, hurt. So now...
He lost Tyreek and still balled out.
No. But I'm talking about this last year. So I'm playing with all reserves, and you know what happened? I'm in the same championship game I was when I had a healthy young Tyreek Hill. Yep. And I had Travis Kelce. The same thing happens.
Let's do this, though, for a moment, because I love Shady's
conversation. Let's play this game.
I love Shady's conversation of elite athletes, elite anything. I've been in rooms with elite businessmen, as Shady has, as Will has as well. When you walk into a room with elites of elites, everybody is comparing. Like, hey, what you done? What I done.
Right.
You know what I mean? Who the big dog?
Yeah, okay.
But sometimes there's more than meets the eye. What I mean by that is, Josh Shady is looking at Pat. Pat got chips. All the chips. He got MVP.
Pat got everything.
He got everything.
But Josh is also looking like, wait a second. And you got Andy, bro, and you got Spags. Like, if I had what you had, if I had what you had, I would have what you had. Here's why I suggest that. We just saw Tracy McGrady 2 weeks ago say that, man, but Kobe had Shaq, but Kobe had Phil. So I can't say they're not thinking. That's just what athletes do.
I was laughing.
He's saying, look, I was a great 2. I was a top 5 MVP vote finalist, too, several years. So we've seen elite athletes say, and mind you, T-Mac never got past the first round. But T-Mac is saying to himself, if I had what you had, I would have done what you've done. That's what elites do.
But you see how laughable that is?
Yeah,
I never got past the first round, but I'm about to compare you to Cope.
If you got to the Western Conference Finals, that's different.
Please don't bring that up. Brother never even got past the first round, and we talking about Kobe.
So is it not fair, though, because you and I have had these conversations off camera, and Will, we've never had them, is it not fair to suggest if Josh Allen had more, if he had more resources. Because don't forget, Patrick Mahomes walked into a first ballot Hall of Famer in Tyreek Hill, a first ballot Hall of Famer in Travis Kelce, and the best coach in the history of the NFL.
But they didn't.
Is it not fair to suggest if Josh had, for Josh at least to think, if I had more?
But they didn't get worse. They got like exponentially better with him there. So no, it's not fair to say that. And again, the reason why I say it's not close is because just, again, everything he has done. And I go back to that document. Please watch it again. Like, you just sit there and really watch this, how he operates, everything he does, everything he matters to his team. Like, it's not. And right now, we're not, like you said, we're not talking regular season. We're talking right now, based on all their accolades, where they are as quarterbacks. You can put them 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, where they are. Like, it is Josh. The only person that can even say anything is maybe Burrow, because Burrow got there. He beat Mahomes to get the Super Bowl.
Burrow saying something to who?
I'm saying, like, if they're all at the table, Joe Burrow got one because he actually went to the Super Bowl.
But let me ask you this, Defender. Let me ask you this.
This is wild, yo.
Let me ask you this, Defender.
No, say anything.
If you switch, and it's hard to do. We're hypothesizing.
Here we go. Let's play this game.
We do this. We're playing this game. It's a facility, y'all.
Games.
If you put Josh Allen on the Chiefs during his tenure, and you put Mahomes on the Bills in the same tenure, I believe Josh Allen would have 2 Super Bowls. He might not have 3. I believe he'd have 2.
You put any one of those 4 quarterbacks with Andy Reid, they're going to do extremely well.
So then how can you not, in all your years of NFL, how can you not suggest, you know what? Situation, scheme, team plays a factor. I'm going to just look at the quarterback exclusively. We do that all the time. I say, man, if Barry Sanders was behind Emmitt Smith's offensive line, he might have rushed for 22,000 yards.
If the Bills defense can get a stop, that would help. So like Josh Allen did his thing.
Last thought, Shady McCoy.
In the championship game. He did his thing.
We always do this.
Yeah, but that's not real football. We try to make excuses for it. If this, if that. No, the greats don't do the ifs. They don't do the ifs. We just get it done. Pat gets it done. He could have sat there and complained that his freaking offense wasn't that good,
but
right?
He has Andy. It's easier to get it done.
Here's the thing.
Listen, man, you got to go out there and play the game, right? I hate when we play this game like, if. We don't do the ifs. That's why we are elite athletes. We go out there and get it done. Well, that's why I love Pat. We don't do this if game.
That's why
if I had to, I don't want the ifs. That's why I go there and I get it done.
That's why when the Chiefs won, what did Josh Allen say to Mahomes?
If this.
He said, go get another one.
Not even that. Yo, and I told y'all this. The Bills beat the Chiefs at home in the regular season game, right?
Yeah.
They lost. Give the quarterbacks some respect. Pat say, hey, good game. I'm going to see you later. And he seen him later. You know what happened later? He beat him.
Yeah, Kelce did similar.
Hey, good luck next year. That's all Pat does. Every time Pat sees Lamar, hey, great game. Hey, good luck next year. Hey, Josh, hell of a game. Hey, good luck next year.
His Airbnb is booked already.
You know what I'm saying? So it should be Pat, a.k.a. good luck next year.
Hey, when we return, it's time to bring out the pressure cookers and have a little fun. How much pressure's on the Eagles this season? How about the Cowboys, Commanders, Rams? So many teams, so much to get to. I got to talk more about this during commercial break.
This episode is brought to you by Liquid IV. When you hydrate with Liquid IV, you're powered by Hydroscience. Hydroscience is Liquid IV's science-backed formula with an optimized ratio of electrolytes, vitamins, and nutrients. Experience great-tasting hydration for mental clarity, physical endurance, and overall well-being. Sip into something that up-levels every moment. Liquid IV. Tear, pour, live more. Visit us at liquidiv.com.
Oh, beautiful people. Some call me Chef Boy R.E., and I'm here with my pressure cooker. I'm on a diet, and so I'm always thinking about cookies.
Okay,
we got NFC teams in here. I'm going to reach in. I'm going to grab an NFC team, and Shady and Will are going to tell me how much pressure each NFC team is under. Will, why are you laughing?
Because last time I seen this, I was at your house when you had a birthday party and you had your African cook there. He was making some beef stew.
Let's get it started, people, please. The first team, the San Francisco 49ers, LaShawn McCoy. How much pressure are the 49ers under?
I'm going to go like 6, right? 1 to 10. I'm going to go 6. Yeah, well, you just paid a quarterback that we all thought was a really great game manager, right? And you pay him a lot of money. So, yeah, if it don't work out, I'm blaming you.
Just a 6. Will, you agree, 6?
I'm gonna say it's a 7. 6 and 11. You're not rebuilding. You're retooling right now. So not too much pressure on them right now. A 7.
The Los Angeles Rams. Will Blackman, how much pressure?
Oh man, I'm gonna say 6.5. 6.5. Just because I just don't feel like there's so much pressure on them. But you still have McVay. You still got Stafford. And the rookies got to step the game up.
Shady?
Yeah, well, your quarterback ain't getting no younger.
He's not at all.
And he's still good. I'm going with 5. Not too crazy in the middle. I think good defense last year, right? Young, gonna get better. Then you got Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
Come on now. I need to see something.
Next up, the Dallas Cowboys. LaShawn McCoy, how much pressure?
Listen, where I got that. Get up in there. It gotta be 10. I mean, you bring in George Pickens, right? Another year, Dak Prescott. Right? Eventually, somebody got to take some blame.
That's fair.
Come on now.
I'm going to go 8.5 here. 8.5.
8.5.
Yeah, 8.5. Because you're right, the expectations aren't as high in terms of you got a new coach, you got everything that's new coordinator, but it's still the Dallas Cowboys.
The Washington Commanders, Shady McCoy.
5, right? I'm not going too crazy on them just because they did play well. That rookie quarterback that played great, and you did get to the conference game. So I'm not tripping too much on them.
Will?
Yeah, the Commanders, I'm going to do the same thing, man. I just feel like you're going into year 2.
Excuse me, sorry about
pretty
that.
much
The spice is
still
hot,
young,
man.
and still young. You got new guys there, but yeah, not too much pressure.
How about the Chicago Bears?
Yeah, you tell the steam is calming down.
I'll tell you, right? You're trying to pop down.
You know what I'm saying? The Bears, I'm not expecting much.
Yeah, this
I'm
is
not.
it's like a new rookie deal, a new rookie year for Caleb. I know he was trying to get the steam.
Yeah, the steam
it's a
ain't
5
really-
for me. It's like a new rookie deal, new rookie year.
It's
for,
almost done,
Caleb,
dog.
man.
Okay, with the steam calming, how about
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Oh, yeah, the boys, look. 3, ain't no pressure. We nice, we the best. You know what it is. Will, don't
pressure.
overthink this. Don't overthink this.
Yeah, you're right. 5. I'm gonna say that. 5. Let's not overthink it.
lastly, as we are
Tell you some
nearly
steam.
seamless. How about the Green Bay?
They gotta get it together.
Yo, listen, don't get mad, Will. I'm going like 9.5. Yeah. All I keep hearing about how talented you guys was for the last couple of years. All they do is lose to good teams.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 7, man. And,
7?
I'm gonna go. Listen, why can't I say 7? Let me be.
7? They lose every team that had played last year.
Maybe
was good.
maybe a 10 for Jordan Love, but a 7 for the team. Jordan got to get it together. We see the potential. We see all things he can do, but this got to be the year. Stay healthy, make plays.
That's how it is.
Yeah, you know this. That's right.
Yeah. Listen. Dan Campbell, we riding with you, dog. The good and the bad. You was bad, then you got good.
Don't be ugly.
Don't go back to bad. Listen, we gotta see it. Y'all got smoked by the Commanders. A rookie quarterback on the road. Oh no, you was at home. They were at home and got smoked. Yeah, it's about a 9.5, dog. 9.5.
Where you at, Will?
Yeah, you. But mine, I think I'm gonna say 9.5, something like that.
Like 11, we say 11.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. You know what? I'm dropping down. I'm gonna go 8.5 here. Mainly because you lose your coordinators, but you still got your nucleus in terms of talent. And the one thing Dan Campbell did say when they lost to the Niners in that one game in the playoffs, he said, "We may not ever get back."
I ain't like that.
You gotta
was
get.
not necessarily lying.
Hey, wait, listen, real quick. I know you knew at this cooking chef thing. I gotta use some better gloves. It don't go.
Usually I don't make my own meals. You know what I'm saying?
Today you did, so I gotta use some better gloves.
Please do.
Yeah, I'm a good friend. I'm a good friend.
He's not really gonna job
Boy,
together.
Chef Offshore, that is so
Hey.
funny. I'm over here trying to hold it together.
When we return,
It's crazy.
when we return, the Knicks, they were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year, but they fired their head coach, Mike Brown, replacing Tom Thibodeau. What does success look like? That's next in the facility.
That was a nice little cooking session, man.
Living with schizophrenia isn't easy, especially when you're not getting relief from some of your symptoms. It can be hard when you're still dealing with symptoms, like hearing voices or seeing things that aren't there, and negative symptoms, like feeling unmotivated or avoiding social situations. If this sounds familiar, it might be time to talk to your healthcare provider and explore a different kind of schizophrenia treatment. Discover your possibilities at treatingscz.com.
Tom Thibodeau fired after leading the Knicks to an Eastern Conference Finals game for the first time in 2 decades, if I'm not mistaken. Enter in Mike Brown. Mike Brown, former head coach of the Cleveland Cavs, led them to the finals, not to be confused with a championship, back in 2007. So Mike Brown, now the new head coach, one of the most polarizing franchises, Shady, not just in the NBA, one of the most polarizing franchises in all of the sport. Success. You would have thought going to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time since maybe 96, 97, something along those lines, you would have thought that was success. But the Knicks said, hey, Tom Thibodeau, that's not good enough. You're fired. Enter Mike Brown. What's success going to look like for the Knicks?
Well, you got to get there. You got to get back there. I think success for sure is getting back to the Eastern Conference, Finals. I think with the team they have and adding a new addition with some more offense for Jalen Brunson, Jordan Clarkson, they gotta get there. Because if not, you fired a coach for getting there. Mm-hmm. And I think in your first year, you got to get back to it. And I think when they did a search of hiring a head coach for the Knicks, who has been there before? Who can relate to these players? Who can relate to having this type of pressure? And I think Mike Brown, that's why they hired him, because he can do that. So to be successful for the Knicks, it ain't just a good playoff run. We see how that worked. You got to actually go there and win and get to a finals. I think if he don't get to the finals in his first 2-3 years, he might be going too.
I was about to say, Shady.
That's what they're doing over in New York.
I agree with the end of the tape. Shady, if you break up with your girl, it's not enough to just find someone that's the same.
Well, sometimes when you break with your girl, and you might get the same, you're like, man, I should have stayed with the old one. Mm-hmm. So,
but that's not an option.
But what I'm saying is, the Knicks, nobody liked the firing. I didn't like the firing.
Yeah,
so now,
broke up with him.
Yeah, so now you probably shouldn't even broke up with the last person.
Got you. That's some good shady.
And then you know what might happen also when you do that?
Please.
This is just some, I'm good at relationships. Football relationships, I'm good at.
Forget the sports.
So this is the big problem here.
Yeah.
If you get to the same issue with Mike Brown, he goes to the Eastern Conference Finals and doesn't win, right? You're like, dang, I should stay with the last one. But now you feel bad, so you keep this one a little longer. So Mike's gonna have a longer tenure to get that thing done. Yeah. Because the old one, you learn from your past to do better for your future.
Yeah.
Ooh, let me write that down.
Unless there's someone better.
Well, you got to write that down real quick.
Look,
learn from your past so you can be better for your future.
Yeah, write that down. That's going to be an Instagram video for me later today. Success for Mike Brown, it has to be getting to the NBA Finals. What is so funny, William?
Because I see your reels and sometimes I just go right by it. I'm like, I don't want to hear my dad. I don't want to hear Nacho today.
Hopefully you want to hear this take. Success for Mike Brown is getting to the finals. Like, if they fired Tom Thibodeau for getting to the Eastern Conference Finals, you got to take me further than where Tom Thibodeau took me. Success isn't just getting back. At first I thought it was just getting back, and I thought about it longer. And I said, wait a second. 2 top 10 players in the East are out. Well, 3 top 10 players in the East are out this year. Dame Lillard, hurt. Tyrese Halliburton, hurt. Jason Tatum, hurt. So 3 top 10 players in the Eastern Conference of what the New York Knicks are in are hurt. And the Knicks have 2 top 10 players in that conference, in Jalen Brunson and Cat. So you're going into an Eastern Conference that's completely depleted. You lost 2 Olympians in Halliburton and Tatum. You lost 2 top 10 players or 3 top 10 players in Halliburton, Tatum, and Lillard. And you got Cat and you got Brunson. To me, you got to get back. You got to get to the finals. That's success.
Yeah, I won't necessarily say, missing the finals would be a huge failure. And I say this because he hasn't gone to war with these guys in the postseason. So you don't know, how they're going to react, how they're going to behave when it comes down to it. Yeah, he's going to have time in the regular season to find that nucleus and to find out their identity, but he has not gone to battle with them in the playoffs where he knows what they're going to be like. Now, I will say, I'm kind of being backhand here, but I do agree, getting to the Eastern Conference Finals, you have to get back when you make a move like this. Out of all the candidates, I'm sure, some of them, were denied, but I think at the end of the day, it was going to be Mike Brown all along. They just wanted to do that due diligence finding everybody else. And I just think that's what it's going to have to be. They have to get back to this here, the Eastern Conference Finals. And, man, if they do get to the finals, then great. But I think success is just that right there.
Just getting back to the Eastern Conference.
Just getting back is success because at least you have a guy that's not messing it up. I think
that's not good enough though. When you have an ascending Jalen Brunson, a top,
but you don't want to. My thing is, when you get into a situation, you don't want to mess it up. If you get back to where you were, and then maybe there's other things you can do for the next season. like that's still success.
So you're saying year one, just don't mess it up. But okay, let me ask you this. What does success look like in the Mike Brown tenure with the New York Knicks? Now I need y'all to answer that question.
Yeah, you got to win one. You got to win one. Yeah, you got to get there and you got to win one.
Success look like during the tenure. Parents, Knicks fans, if I'm not mistaken, so you know.
Yeah, I mean, you can say that. I don't really joke around with the championships like that. It's hard to get to.
No question.
Right? And if you can get back to an Eastern Conference Finals, right, and give yourself a chance, because you're talking about all these other players that's not there. Mm-hmm. Injuries happen in sports. It happens. There's bad waves in sports, and there's good waves. It's like, that's why you can't get too high, can't get too low. So if he gets to Eastern Conference Finals, anything is possible, and I'm okay with that.
Let me I'll ask y'all this, right? When I think about the East, Celtics are kind of cashing out this year. They got rid of Porzingis, got rid of Drew Holiday. They're saying to themselves, this year's a wash. The Pacers don't have Tyrese Halliburton, so this year's a wash. And Miles Turner's gone. But at minimum, Tyrese Halliburton, he's hurt. This year's a wash. So long as Doc Rivers is the head coach for the Bucks, and with Dame Lillard out, I think for the Bucks, they're not actually winning a championship. This year's a wash. So either the Cleveland Cavaliers can do it, the Detroit Pistons, they can ascend to become one of the best teams out of nowhere. The Orlando Magic, they got to ascend from an 8 seed. The Atlanta Hawks, they're going to fix their defensive woes and their structural issues. When I think about the teams in the East, unless the 76ers and Joel Embiid are that guy, who should be better than the Knicks?
But this the issue even with that. Because the finals this year was the Pacers and OKC, right?
Yep.
And then last year, it was also the Pacers.
Conference finals.
Conference finals, the Pacers. No, nobody in these last 2 years, nobody had them guys going to the Eastern Conference Finals back years, right? But then they wind up going. So my thing is, nothing's predictable. Anything can happen. So as we can sit here and say, oh, well, this team should, because they don't have this player, that player, so what? Because the last 2 years, the Pacers, who nobody expected to go to the Eastern Conference Finals, let alone the finals, they did it. That's why I can't play that game.
That's to Acho's point. Like, it's wide open. Mm-hmm. Like, anyone can get there. And so the fact that here's the thing, too. You look at the Pacers, like, who's their coach? Right? Unbelievable coach, right? And then you go to other teams, too. So I look at, you're getting a coach. Obviously, Mike Brown wasn't the head coach of a championship team. He was on the staff, so that's different when comparing coaches. But you're getting a high-caliber coach to that regard that's going to a team where apparently there was disconnect with the coach. There was disconnect there overall from the coaches, from the management. So you have a guy who was able to put those two things together and, as you mentioned, be relatable, have respect.
And don't you also have, though, an elite roster, though, 2-5? Like, with Tatum out, Halliburton out, say what you will, Jalen Brunson, top 5, top 7 player in the East.
And be real, Knicks should have not won any of those games.
With Cat out there as the top 10 player in the East.
Against Boston?
So you're sitting there with the top 5 player in the East. You're sitting there with the top 10 player in the East. You look at their starting lineup. The starting lineup's legit. Starting lineup legit with OG, with Bridges, with Cat. It's just hard for me to see, like, who should be better than the Knicks going into this thing? Shady's right. Anything can happen. We can't sit here and that's not a good enough answer to give y'all on TV. Anything can happen. But Shady is right. Anything can happen. But at least on paper, the Knicks.
I mean, I would say they're favorite, right? Well, I would say favorite. The Cavs should be favorite. My Sixers, I don't know what they got going on.
Yeah, they.
We'll see, though. I just think that if you're saying, hey, they don't get to the finals, like it was a failure. I can't say
that. Tough. That's tough. That's very tough. Hey, what might be a failure is T.J. Watt's tenure with the Steelers. The Steelers and T.J. Watt are still at odds. T.J. Watt may be the best defender in the last 10 years, but he's waiting on a new contract. Should the Steelers move on from their 30-year-old pass rusher before it's too late, or should they pay him the bag? That's next. T.J. Watt entering the final season of his contract, but a new deal with the Steelers is currently not close. A report says Watt wants to be the highest-paid non-quarterback in the league, but the Steelers saw a bit of a decline in him last year. I guess it's hard to maintain being the first-team All-Pro. He declined into being a second-team All-Pro.
That boy's so good.
T.J. Watt is amazing.
Wait, was that part of, like, the teleprompter, or they said decline?
No, they actually said, the report says, Tomlin didn't say that.
This league makes me so angry. It's hard to be great every single year. And if you're not great, y'all won't know that.
He was a second-team All-Pro for the record. Yeah, he did decline. He declined from defensive MVP of the league in 21 to first-team All-Pro in 23.
And he was fourth in voting.
All-Pro
fourth in voting.
So technically, that is a decline.
Playing with no help.
That is, if you decline from a Rolls-Royce to a Bentley, you did, in theory, maybe decline. I don't know. Shady, should the Steelers consider moving on from T.J. Watt?
Was that a shot?
You have the Rolls, I have the Bentley. I gave you the praise. Answer the question.
Why would you? I'm gonna say no. Why would you move off of one of the best defensive players that we ever seen in football? Let alone one of the best defensive players you ever seen. I mean, I've never seen a defensive player, and I've seen them all. From DeMarcus Ware, I've seen them all. I ain't gonna sit here and talk about the guys I've seen, but I've watched him win games when the offense can't do much, when they can't throw the ball, when they can't stop throwing picks, when they can't get the running game going. The offensive line can't block nobody. And I watched this guy win the games, strip sack fumbles to the crib, getting picks. I mean, he has the most freaking fumble recovery since he got in the NFL. That's game-changing. When you have a game changer like this, it makes a difference. When you talk about the Aaron Rodgers, the DK Metcalfs, you talk about the Darius Slays coming over, Ramsey coming over, all these guys, you hear about them. And a lot of reasons why they're coming over is, yo, they got T.J. Watt. Mm-hmm. So now if T.J. Watt's out the loop, it's like, wait, hold up.
Right.
Who are we for real?
Yeah.
I hate this that they play this game. Now, I want to just think that maybe it's just the NFL. When I say the NFL, a lot of great players have to wait for their money, right? The Aaron Donalds. I mean, I can't think of a better defensive player in history than Aaron Donald. And he had to wait to get his money. The first time around when T.J. Watt wanted to get some money, they made him wait a little bit, right? Ramsey had to wait a little bit to get his money. Everybody has to wait a little bit to get their money, so I'm okay with that. Bosa last year, when Bosa was going crazy, I think 2 years ago, he had to wait to get his money. Michael Parsons right now today had to wait to get his money. Myles Garrett had to threaten the Browns. Said, listen, I need to go to a winning team. And then you know what they did? They came with that big fat check. So, you know what, Steelers, Tomlin, I ain't mad at y'all, because this is how it goes. Just make me look good and do the right thing. Is that Spike Lee? Just do the right thing.
I love this show. Shady made me change my opinion, but not in its entirety. They shouldn't.
You better not say
They
this.
shouldn't trade him, obviously. But the reason I think you consider it is because I've seen it before. One with his brother, right? J.J. Watt is also a multiple-time defensive MVP, one of the greatest defenders of the generation. And J.J. Watt didn't finish his career with the Houston Texans. So I've seen that before. But I've seen it more eminently. I saw it with Von Miller and the Denver Broncos. Von Miller is a beast. He's just a beast. Same recruiting class, same draft class as my brother from Dallas. I've known Von Miller since 2005. He's a beast. As good, someone could just better than T.J. Watt. You could argue with your mama. The Broncos moved on from Von Miller, and it worked out for both of them. Von Miller went and won a Super Bowl instantly that year. And then with those 2 picks that the Broncos gotten, they acquired Nick Bonito. You look at Nick Bonito in the league since he's entered All-Pro last year, 23.5 sacks in the last 3 seasons. Von Miller, since the trade, 23.5 sacks in the last 4 seasons. I included an extra season because Von Miller, he missed an entire season. So for the Broncos, it worked out for y'all. Y'all got a starting center with the 3rd-round pick that y'all ended up trading and leveraging. And y'all got a starting pass rusher that's an all-pro that has 23.5 sacks in the last 4 seasons, last 3 seasons. For Von, it worked out for him. He got a Super Bowl. I can't say you shouldn't consider it because ultimately you're going to end up paying T.J. Watt $160 million for the next 4 years at least because he deserves all of it. And are the Steelers actually going to win anything? Where Shady moved me, and I'll end my take saying this, you have to start the season with T.J. Watt because I'm curious, how good are y'all capable of being? But if you start the season with T.J. Watt and you're 2-6 at the trade deadline, maybe you say to yourself, let me try to go get 2 second-round picks and let me move off the rest of that salary. Because if I can't win with Jalen Ramsey and Darius Slay and Aaron Rodgers and all these people, I'm not winning with a rookie quarterback next year. So Shady made me change my opinion in saying start the season with T.J. Watt. But then there comes a point, maybe like Von Miller, maybe like T.J.'s brother J.J., where you say, you know what, you go chase your ring. And we couldn't do it in 9 years. You know, we'll try elsewhere.
I mean, if you're going to consider it, you might as well just start the whole thing over. Just let Tomlin go, let TJ go, let DK Metcalf go somewhere else. Like, if you're going to consider that, I'm just saying as an organization, just start over from scratch. Just brand new Pittsburgh Steelers. But that's not historically what they're known to do. They're known to constantly reload, retool, and keep being a contention to at least compete for a championship. In my case, like, hell no. Like, there's no way in hell I'm even considering thinking about it simply because he's not just a player that can go affect the quarterback. Like Shady said, he changes the entire game. You have to account for him everywhere he goes. Yeah, a down year, he led the league in forced fumbles. That's a down year, right? Down year, he was 6th in QB hits. That's a down year. Down year, he was 8th in sacks, right? That's a down year. So most guys right now will probably renegotiating trying to get a contract with those stats.
Yeah.
And so in this case, I would not consider it. He's still elite. He's still
Yes, he is.
He's still
Yes,
the
he
heart
is.
and soul of this team. When Ben Roethlisberger left, now it's T.J. Watt, right? You think of all the Pittsburgh greats. Now these past 5 years, you think of him. And
Let me ask y'all this, though, man. Throw that full screen up while Will was talking.
Look at this, man. This is crazy.
Because these dudes are throw the full screen up. I don't care. These dudes are incredible. Incredible. But Myles Garrett's Browns have been terrible, and Myles Garrett has won one playoff game in his tenure. Danielle Hunter, obviously the Texans are a different story. Danielle Hunter is a good player. He's not the player that Myles Garrett is. Max Crosby, elite. I don't know if he's won a playoff game, maybe one with Derek Carr. Nick Bosa, the best of the best of the best of the best of the best, sir. Obviously, you saw what happened with the Niners last year, but Nick Bosa and the Niners have historically been good. Hines Allen, I'm not putting him on that list. He just got paid. Brian Burns, you can kind of put him on the list. The Giants were terrible. I say all that to say, as a defender, Shady played offense. Will was in the DB room. As a defender that was in the box, I understand as good as rushers are, rushers alone, let this list tell you, they can't move the needle. Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, they're elite, y'all. I mean, these are Hall of Famers we're talking about.
Move the needle in terms of what?
Move the needle in terms of, like, they can't make you a playoff team.
Okay, I hear you, right? And sometimes I feel like the GMs think like this sometimes. So why even be a great player then? If you want me to be on your team and be a great player, and now we come to you showing graphics like this, then why be a great player? It's a serious question, though, because, like, it's disrespectful to have a player that I give you my all, and I'm one of the best in the league, because that's what you want for your team, right? And then I'm the best for your team, and you talk to me like, well, the whole team didn't win, so we should get rid of you. Because you're showing the graphic of all these great players that hasn't won, but they've been great. It's like, what? Tell me there. You know,
to me,
that hurts my heart hearing that.
To me, though, it's don't you think the greatness can be better used elsewhere? So, like, be the great player, but Saquon Barkley's greatness is better used in Philly. Von Miller's greatness, it was better used in Los Angeles. Had Von stayed in Denver, Shady, they were not winning anything. So I'm like, T.J. Watt, his greatness, I just think, would be better served anywhere. Myles Garrett, I think his greatness will be better served elsewhere. So I know.
But I'm saying, so if you're the GM, you're telling me you will move off these guys because they're not great for you. They're not getting me closer to a championship. Weirdly enough. But so.
Hold on,
real quick. I'm just saying, like, how's that play out? Because now, you have a franchise, you have players there. Like, what message are you sending to your players? Like, no matter how great you are, I can just move on for you at any time. Who want to play for a coach like that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want to play for no GM. You telling me, that the best player on our team had a decline. Now he's second team All-Pro, which is hard to do. Some guys haven't done that ever, okay? And now it's time for me to get paid because I earn this. Not you giving it, I earn this. And you talking about moving me. Why would I want to play for your team? Why? When I'm about to get a new contract, let's say you draft me, so I got to be there, and I ball out. My agent said, hey, look, man, I think when it's time to renegotiate, we go somewhere else. Because no matter how great you play, Emmanuel Acho and his boys, they're going to get rid of you if the defense don't play well or the team don't play well.
But the question then is...
You know what I'm saying? That's crazy.
I agree.
That's
hard. The hard part for me, right, and I was never the elite player, so excuse my ignorance in talking like I'm not. The hard part for me is if we know the Steelers aren't going to win a championship, which I would not move him before the season. But if, again, you start 3-5, whatever the case may be, if you got $160 million committed to T.J. Watt and you know you're not going to win a championship, you just have $160 million committed for the sake of having $160 million committed. Aaron Rodgers has already said this is his last season, more than likely. So next year, y'all got a rookie quarterback. You got $160 million committed to one player. Will, I'm just suggesting, and we're all businessmen at this desk. Obviously, we're all NFL players first, really Shady most and Will most. I'm more businessman than NFL player. But as a businessman, you got $160 million committed. For what if you're not going to win?
But as a businessman, like you think...
I don't play on your team. I'm going.
As a businessman, you're thinking, tell me, like, what are the prime positions, right, on offense? Prime positions.
Quarterback,
right? Left tackle.
Running back.
Let's go to defense. Prime positions. Pass rusher. And historically, who did that start with? The pass rusher. What became a prime position? Lawrence Taylor. That's where it came from. A guy who can truly affect the game in a totality. And I get it in terms of, like, yes, can we commit all our money to one guy and still be successful? I can see, the Giants, they thought, like, hey, if we commit all this money to Saquon, then I still think it's crazy that they just let him go to Philly out of all places.
Jones, right.
Out of all places. But in this case, if he's not on the field, they're not even sniffing the postseason.
But what about the whole, real quick, what about the, first of all, if TJ Watt leaves there, I don't know if they get better with draft picks.
They do not get better. They do not get better. That's what I'm saying. Start over.
So what about, so you keep talking about business. You're good at business, right? Well, we're not going to championship. We're going to have a rookie quarterback. We got to sell some type of tickets. We got to sell the people some type of hope. I don't know if you've been to Pittsburgh, but the Steelers is like the main thing there, okay? That's what they do, all right? The people go to the grocery store with the towel on, and it ain't even football season. You get what I'm saying? So now, what am I selling you now?
I guess I would be selling you a future. Because Shady's right. I can't sell you on the present. I can't sell you on the present. But here's my thing is insanity, doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. I don't think TJ Watt has won a playoff game. I don't think he's won a playoff game.
But that's not his fault, though.
His fault.
And last thing, and I'm done, because this.
But he hasn't won a playoff.
You give me a headache, and I'm done with it. But, dog, if you telling me, right, listen, you be great, and we're going to pay you to be great. That's what the deal is. Right. So I've held on my part. Are you doing your part?
But here's what you're telling me. Pay me the most money, and we won't win a playoff game. That's what you're telling me. We both talking crazy to each other.
No, we're not. You know why we're not talking crazy? Real quick. Because when you watch the Steelers play, when they were going to the playoffs, it wasn't no offense. Offense be having 16,000 field goals. And my man's over there saving the day every other game. The reason why they go to the playoffs is because it's him. And you telling me you don't want me to be there? Yo, don't ever draft me. Don't draft me, dog. No. Wow.
Hey, when we return, Luka, LeBron, they're adding a third teammate of substance, Deandre Ayton. Hey, is this the best Lakers team LeBron has ever been on? Remember, he won a championship before with one, but is this team, at least on paper, even though?
How we don't have nothing on you, dog?
At Strayer University, we help students like you go from, is it possible, to anything is possible by offering access to up to 10 no-cost gen ed courses, so you can reach your goals affordably and fast. Visit strayer.edu to learn more. No-cost gen eds provided by Strayer University affiliate Sophia. Eligibility rules apply. Connect with us for details. Strayer University is certified to operate in Virginia by Chev and has many campuses, including at 2121 15th Street North in Arlington, Virginia.
Reports say Lakers are signing center Deandre Ayton, former #1 overall pick, only 26 years old, even though he's been in the league for 8 seasons already, teaming up with LeBron James and Luka Doncic, which had us thinking, though LeBron has already won a championship in his Lakers tenure, the starting lineup looks pretty good. You got Austin Reeves, you got Deandre Ayton, you got Rui Hachimura, but then you also have LeBron James and Luka Doncic. Shady, is it safe to say that including LeBron's championship team, this 2025 Lakers team, at least right now, might be the best?
I don't think so. Nah. On LeBron's teams? Nah. I look at the bubble. The last time we won a championship was in the bubble, correct?
Yes, sir.
They had defenders on defenders on defenders.
Yes.
KP was a wing that could defend and shoot the tray ball.
Yeah.
Caruso played solid defense and could shoot the tray ball. You see what he's doing with OKC. That didn't change, and he was younger then. And another, Rondo was playing defense.
Yeah.
Right? I look at Dwight Howard. When they were going against Jokic, how do you stop Jokic? Okay, we're going to have Anthony Davis, who was, by the way, first team all defense back then in the bubble. And then they had Dwight Howard, guarding Jokic, and then the backside, Anthony Davis, to help out. So I look at the Lakers, I guess y'all see offense. I'm looking at defense because if we can't stop nobody, that's going to be an issue.
Yeah.
Because they can score when they want. They can score when they want. But you got to guard somebody. I think the best the Lakers team was they won that championship in the bubble when they had defense.
I'll agree with Shady. I'll disagree slightly. I'll agree with Shady. Interestingly, that team was better, the bubble team. But that team was better because I don't know if Shady knew every player he mentioned was a bench player. And that's why that team was better. Starting 5-2-5, I actually like the 2025 starting 5 more than I like the 2019-2020 starting 5. Luka to Avery Bradley, Reeves to Danny Green, LeBron to LeBron. They'll give me 35-year-old LeBron, obviously. Rui to AD and Ayton to JaVale McGee. I like this Lakers starting lineup significantly more than I like that Lakers starting lineup. But Shady hit the nail on the head. You had Caruso, KCP, Dwight Howard, Rondo, all coming off the bench.
Kuzma's on that team.
And another thing, real quick. Show the graphic one more time, because I don't know if you know this.
Wasn't JR on that team?
But you got a lot of all defensive players on there.
Correct.
Danny Green. At one time, Avery Bradley. Like, them guys locking up. And then you got AD. And LeBron was a little younger. He was playing defense. So I like all the offense, and I hear that. But if you can't stop nobody, what are we talking about?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, no, I like the bubble team. And I think the bubble team, today will contend for a title as well, based on how the league is. So, yeah, for me, I like them. I understand, like you said, the starting five. That's good. That's a good point. But depth is context, which is why you look at the two teams that you mentioned in our previous segment. Well, OKC and the Pacers, they have depth. And that's how the league is right now. Like, our guys are young. Our guys are fast. I think those are the two fastest teams up and down the court in terms of their production. And they just had bodies. Like, right now, my son, he plays basketball. He's 14 years old, and he was playing the 4 in his 8th grade team. And I remember he would come over, he'd look at me, and they got about 6 bigs on the bench. He's like, it's going to be a long day, right? Because they just throw bodies and bodies. They have so much depth. So then by the time midway through the game, my son's like, whew, like, I'm tired, but I got to keep going. So in this case, they don't have the depth to sustain what's going on. And so I totally 100% this bubble team. J.R. Smith, I think, was on that team, too.
Hey, Rondo
was Dion Waiters on that team as well?
Philly cheese.
Let me ask y'all this. Do y'all think the Lakers need to acquire more depth or develop it? Reason I suggest that is Jackson Hayes has athleticism. He showed at times to have promise. 18-8 during a course of games, he could put up numbers. Dalton Connect, I think, has a ton of promise.
He got to play.
So, like, do you think the Lakers need to go out there and acquire more pieces, or they started to trust number 30, Goodwin, later in the season?
Good one.
Connect, Jackson Hayes, Vanderbilt. Do you need to go get it, or do you think Shady is already in the building?
I mean, they got Gabe Vincent. I think he showed some promise late in the year, right? Connect, I don't know what that's about, but he's a rookie. And I'm sure.
I think he was emotional from the trade last year, too.
Yeah, because he's human, right? And I think this year he'll be a lot better. He plays a lot of confidence as a rookie, so I know your second year is going to be even better. But I didn't see defense, though, Acho. Like, the more I watch the playoffs, that's the one thing that stuck out to me. Yeah, Brunson going to go out and get you 35 like always, but then eventually we got to get a stop.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Then let me ask you this real quickly then. Who do you move? Because it's not enough to have elite defenders coming off the bench. I think you have to have elite defenders in the starting lineup. The championship proved that. Nembhard, elite defender. Naismith did really well on defense.
Come on now.
Lou Dort did really well on defense. Chet, because of his length, surprisingly, even when he got beat, he was getting 2 to 3 blocks a game. Miles Turner did really well on defense. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's not turnstile. If he wants to lock down more often than not, he can.
J-Dub,
excuse me for forgetting that. The Lakers. When you have Luka starting, when you have LeBron at 40 starting, when you have Austin Reeves starting, who do you move, Shady? Because Rui Hachimura is the best defender in the starting lineup. That's not enough. Deandre Ayton, you just acquired him. Do you have to move Austin Reeves in your mind?
Man, good thing I'm not a GM. That's a tough one, though, because I think Reeves is the guy that gives you offense. But then again, every playoff series, man, I've been watching, he don't really correct. I watched Ant-Man lock him up. Did y'all see that? Oh, my
1,000%.
God. So that's a hard one. I don't know who you move, because that's a hard question.
But do you agree somebody has to move?
I think you got to. Yeah. We just watched the finals. And this is a copycat league in football and basketball, copycat league. So you got to have somebody to defend. Yeah. Real quick, before you go. OKC, there's times where they didn't play offensively well, and they didn't shoot the 3-ball well. But they have an elite scorer at SGA, and AJ Will, times he was going off. But their thing was defense. Mm-hmm. I look at the Pacers. I mean, nobody was scoring points for them. 15, 20, 18, 16. Yeah. But you know what they did well? We played defense, so we always going to be in the game. That's why I keep going back to when we talk about the regular season, do what you want to do with it, right? It's for the fans. Throw alley hoops from half court, cool. When we get to the playoffs, it's about locking up in defense and who's the weakness. And every team you see that went to the finals, they got defense.
Right, I'm going to go, but you asked the question, like, do they develop or go get somebody? I think in this case, you do have to develop. Think of all the best teams you guys were on. You guys had a lot of depth, right? Therefore, it made practices way more competitive because you had matchups. When I was with the Seattle Seahawks, like in training camp, it was just all-out war because they had so much depth where it wasn't even so much about the other team against other guys. It was in practice. So right now, you have DeAndre Ayton to go against Hayes in practice. You have Gabe Vincent to go against Reeves in practice. You have Connect now. He has a full offseason to go against Luka. So I think it's going to be really key for JJ to make these practices real competitive, to develop right inside house for that to happen.
Bronny James, yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, he's going to play a big factor this year. Yeah, I'm standing on that.
Hey, when we return, the Ravens are stacked headed into the season. So are they clearly the best team in the AFC? The Kansas City Chiefs AFC. That's next, the facility. AFC is loaded heading into this season, and Lamar Jackson's Ravens are expected to be Super Bowl contenders. Ravens wide receiver Rashad Bateman said, quote, "This is the best team that I've ever been on in the NFL." He ain't lying. Shady, are the Ravens clearly the best team in the AFC?
How? By the way, Lamar is so good.
He's nice.
I think Lamar and Derrick Henry and the team they have, they're the wide receivers, defense, they're good. But the best, how? How you the best? You keep losing to the same team every other year. Ain't the same quarterback every other year. Like, what are we talking about? No.
On paper, they're the best team in the AFC, and now I can say it's not even close.
Paper, you can do whatever you want to it, dog. You do whatever you want to paper.
Fine. But when you're not crumbling it up on paper, genuinely, I suggest the Ravens are to the AFC what the Eagles are to the NFC. When I tell you all at home, and go do your own homework and research, don't believe me, it's not close. It's not close.
In terms of what?
Cornerback tandem plus the nickelback. Safety tandem. You have an elite linebacker, a top 2 linebacker in the NFL. You have edge rushers and you have interior and Madubuike that can get after it. You have a top 3 running back. You have a top 3 quarterback. You have a top 7 tight end core. You have a good offensive line and the receiving core.
Did you have this last year?
Listen, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, and you.
Shady, if I'm playing Madden, I'm picking the Ravens.
All day.
I'm picking the Ravens.
I was Lamar.
If I'm playing the Ravens, I mean, as you mentioned, DeAndre Hopkins, right? You go get Jai Alexander. You get Cheetah Wuzier. I'll tell you what, a secret signing, though, they got, I would say Cooper Rush. Backup, you got a real backup quarterback. Oh, but a legit backup quarterback. But on paper, yeah, outstanding, exciting. They don't have any holes on their defense. They got, on their whole team, they got 0 holes. But, like you said, we seen the same story all over in the playoffs.
That's true.
Hey,
so right now, it's like, cool.
You watched a lot of tape, you said, right?
Cool.
Did they have this last year?
Not the same.
No, not this. No, they loaded up.
That's way different this year,
They loaded up in all season.
Okay.
Even the drafts, they drafted a couple starters. Yeah, come on, man.
They way different this year.
When they had this, though, was 2023. That's when they had it. And the result was still a loss. It was a 1 seed. It was a 15-2 or 14-3 team. It was a 1 seed. They hosted the Chiefs at the bank, and they lost. But they have had this before.
They're always really good. This win the playoffs.
I guess football, it doesn't even matter about playing no more.
No, it does. I'm just saying on paper.
On paper, I know.
Get the Super Bowl.
Can I get you got some green paper for me? I'll take the green paper. Give me that green paper. You know what I mean? You keep that paper, use some green paper.